Welcome one and all back to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL for the bonus +1 day of games. We've got one more best of 3 to finish things off. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Alec. We've got Ice behind the scenes on production. And we have one more game, one more series at least, to decide who gets first place for Group Perseverance.
It wasn't enough to have 23 days. We needed the 24th. We needed one more day to get through games. Potentially we could have had 2, but IG decided early night. You know, Mako was playing later on in the day for some show matches, and make sure the old man got to his bedtime soon enough. So
did you stay up and watch the show matches?
No, brother. I went straight to bed.
I know.
I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, I get to go to sleep before 6 a.m. Perfect. Yeah. This is beautiful.
Crazy. We'll have to check up on that. But moving forward, let's go and take a look at the standings, or I guess the bracket itself. Looking to go forward into the night's road, and obviously a couple possibilities still, and you can take your pick on which one's better and which one's worse, at least. But there's a couple qualifications happening for the winner and the loser of this series.
Yeah, so right there, that round 2, that is in a lower bracket. Those are immediately elimination games. The ones that'll be played in the upper part in that round 1, those are, at least if you lose those ones, you go straight to round 3 and you'll have another chance. But all best of 5s, I think it's the most exciting part. We're getting straight into best of 5s. We're bringing back, obviously, the Fearless. And that is, I think, going to be the most crucial part of this. We're going to see teams potentially lose out on a bunch of champions they didn't have access to in their game 3s of their series. So yeah. I'm really excited, especially with how close some of the bottom tier teams look compared to some of our Group Ascent and Perseverance squads.
And I'm just going to say, in terms of that conversation of how the Group Ascent team's looking, I would much rather face IG, I think, at this point than I would top esports. But we'll see.
You get to choose your opponents, right?
Hey, you just got to win, I guess. But speaking of moving a little bit forward, I think it's interesting how we've come to this format and stuff. I do find the, I guess, level of stress that comes with this in terms of who your opponent is going to be not super high. But in a way, I mean, it still would feel really good to get a final win on the split.
Oh, yeah. Just cap off your split. Also, because this is a tiebreaker day and is technically like an extra day on the show, this is now a day that's cutting into your prep time, right? Like, this is for NiP and NWE, you're going to be playing in 2 days. We start on the 9th, so you basically have less than 48 hours from now to look at your next opponent. As you can see on the screen, the winner of today's best of 3 will play against Invictus Gaming, and I think this kind of opens up a little bit of larger conversation about which team would you rather face, because regardless of it being a Group Ascend team, those are typically going to be better squads. They played more games than our Perseverance teams, but IG looked terrible. And Top Esports, at least they've had a lot of convincing games. I know people might write off their BLG win, but they've had a lot of really close series, and I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to qualify for Group Ascend.
Yeah, so hey, you know at least what character select look like coming into the series, and both teams now have to figure out how they want to handle this at least. That being said, let's talk about those, I guess, not opponents, but the challengers coming up, because NiP themselves, I felt like coming into the split was a mixed bag of will this work, will this won't work. And in the end, I think we got a little bit of that wishy-washiness from NiP, but I'm still been impressed of the fact that they're looking to finish either first or second in Group Perseverance.
I'm actually really pleasantly surprised, similarly to you, that this actually could be a decent team. Right? Yeah. I saw this team, and I won't lie, I'm seeing Guwon come off of a terrible split in the LCP. I'm looking at Hoya and Care, who had really difficult times, not just last year, but in more recent memory. And Dwo with that JDG team just looked awful. And so it was kind of like, maybe this is just going to be an awesome or bust team, but I've been really, really excited about how they've been playing. They've been really dominant in some of their early games, and despite some of their fumbles in the early split, I do think this is a really, really solid team. I just wonder what they're going to look like in deeper series where your laning might be a critical error against some of the better teams.
And this next team coming up, obviously a little foreshadowed too, but I just hope that they have the hater shades on, because there are doubters aplenty for this team. And I think they've maybe giving us a little bit of room to be respectful towards what they've been able to accomplish, but still think there's a lot of haters out there.
Remember, they started off so good. They went on they started off 4-0. We thought, oh, are they going to potentially go undefeated? And then they lose to NiP. They play against the team again. They go to 3 games again. They beat them there. Everyone beats up on TT, so we're not going to really, put too much stock into that. And then they get completely swept by EDG. So this WE team, very few changes, especially in the top side. We changed out our bottom lane. I think for Team WE, I need to see something that is going to be honestly just convincing enough that this team will beat a Group Ascend team. I am very worried about their prospects. So we have some clips about talking about some of their, what it looked like in their wins when we saw these two teams play in both of their series. Generally, I will say, Lennon, NiP look like the more consistent team, but WE have just these small moments where they're able to either clutch out versus their opponents, or they are just really, really focused on objectives.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a little bit of a contrast, and I do want to see how that's going to pan out here when you have a little bit more anxiety about this one best of 3 ahead of you, right? And, maybe we weren't fully ready to be playing an extra day of games here, but I think the fact of the matter is it's going to be scrappy no matter what. I think both times we saw these teams face off against each other, it is going to be chaotic, and I think it's whoever can kind of harness that in some type of way that can come out the better of it.
This game was disgusting. This game was just a straight up eye beach,
insane,
man. This fight was terrible. NiP lose this game with Ocean Soul. That's all you need to know. Somehow with a Yunara Lulu, we lose the game. That should be abysmal. This is also, again, this is going to be about someone that we'll be talking about a little bit later in the show, getting a player of the game on his Ezreal champion. So I'm really excited. Again, it's just whether or not we'll see WE bring that same fire that we saw from them, especially Karis. Karis had a big heater in the middle of the season, and while he's had some games that he hasn't looked as mechanically proficient, otherwise he's looked like a top-level Perseverance mid laner.
And I think the other thing coming into this, while we take a look back at the history of them playing against each other, you also got to think about what they're coming off of, and WE had a pretty devastating loss against EDG, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for NiP, they're coming off a pretty dominating win over TT. But I think this is a guy who needs to be the center of attention a lot for WE. It is about the bot laner. If you want to vote for him, if you want to go ahead and cast your vote for All Pro for whoever you want, make sure you go scan that QR code and follow that. But he had a troubling last series against EDG, but if you look at the track record before that, I think he was one of the brightest points.
Not his fault. His mid laner was terrible. That's just how it goes. We had a 2025 Karis come on through. Voting for All Pro is going to end on the 8th, 5 p.m. PST. So if you want to be a part of that community vote and you want to contribute to the All Pro, go ahead and hit that vote. You can also go to the community Discord, and there will be a link in the announcements tab as well. But talking about this player, I think a champion that's going to have a really big spotlight on them here in this series is this Ezreal champion. We're probably not going to see it in Game 1, but we have seen a lot of it from WE. There is just so many things going forward for this. The only critique I will give against Ezreal is he does not take advantage of everybody going back to 200% crit damage. That is the only thing that he has against him. But I think early skirmishing, he's really strong. Mid-game, he is almost impossible to get on top of if you don't have a Vi or a Nautilus. And in terms of scaling, this champion has so many options. Double tier, the Endless Hunger item, which gives him ability haste based on bonus AD. And as you can see, about getting 2 of his 4 player of the games on this champion. I really think this is going to be a really big pick, especially as we explore further in the meta.
You're telling me double tier is back?
Yes.
It's back? All right. I need you. I'm going to record for a couple seconds so I can send it to Cubby and to Rafa, who have doubted my old Ziggs double tier tech. I'll just take a little bit of time to do that right now. We won't. But I do find it interesting. Do you feel like the Endless Hunger item, I know we were looking at kind of that item for pick potential for it, but does it provide that difference? Like, is it one of those like keystone items for him at this point?
Well, I mean, you could see it here. I went Diamond Plus globally on Ezreal. It is 56% win rate with a very healthy amount of games. Like 14,000 is not bad.
That's a lot.
That is pretty insane. I mean, it just gives you a small amount of tenacity. It gives you Omnivamp as well, and gives you bonus if you're able to gain a takedown. So really works well on him. And then you're thinking about like how much ability haste this champion's gonna have. Double tier, Trinity Force, Endless Hunger, Spear of Shojin. This champion gets suddenly like 1500 plus HP. You're sitting on like 31 to 3500 HP as an Ezreal. How do you die? I think this is a really, really powerful item. I think in general, Ezreal is going to be really, really strong. And so game 2s, game 3s, he's been really good into champions like Corki and Varus so far this season, which are champions that are very, very prominent right now. So I'm really excited to see this, and I hope we get more exploration, especially with Nico kind of getting tapered down in support.
Is it one of those things where it's still kind of that second item spike that he really starts to come online and you're waiting for that point? Do you feel like it's, so it's definitely like towards the later points, you're not going to see anything too crazy within the lane itself in the 2v2?
I mean, lane,
the
like
Sheen
first,
can do
like,
crazy things, but you know.
Sheen is okay, yeah, but like in the lane, he can still be a bit of a bully. Again, Essence Flux, and then the shift makes it really hard to get on top of him. He can trade really well. You can optimize for lane by going like lethal tempo and stuff, but we're not seeing too much of that right now. Again, I really think that if you need a champion that's going to spike on 2 and then every single item afterwards is just like 10 out of 10 premier, I think Ezreal's the champion you got to reach for.
All right. Well, we'll see if About is going to be willing to get that one, or if honestly they're going to try to ban that one away. I know we were looking at some of the things coming into this and wanting to figure out like maybe what version of these teams we're going to get. Do we think we're going to get the Mundo once again for Monkey? Are we going to get anything more, I guess, setup potential wise for Guwan? Because I feel like he's definitely been going for facilitators, and while there's a lot of picks that are still on the table, are there any big ones maybe off meta that you're looking for coming into tonight?
Both of these guys do have like a pocket Viego, which we've seen at least once throughout the split, so that'll probably come out in game number 3. Aside from that, the big thing that I'm seeing here is that we have no Vi games for Monkey, which is very, very strange as one of the premier engaged junglers and someone that has a lot of winning matchups, at least for right now with how the meta has really developed. So I'm kind of interested to see which one of these guys is going to pull that out first, and then what's the response, because as you mentioned, it is probably a complete shock to anybody that Monkey's most played champion this season is Mundo.
Mundo, like, baby.
He how did we get here?
He goes where he pleases. That's the beautiful part about it. I'm here for it. Maybe it's so crazy when you think back to like a year ago and you're like, he's playing like the Viegos and like the Wukongs a lot, which he still plays the Wukong. He still does. But the Viego was like a cornerstone for him. It was something that he always went back to to try to kind of carry some games. So maybe we'll see a little bit of that later on here. But I know maybe it's a little bit more of a soft point here for you. But we'll be talking about bot lane all night long. I want to do a check-in on this mid lane. 2 guys that I've been really interested in the kind of journeyman story that they've been putting together in Karis and Care. And you said it yourself. Mid lane didn't look too good.
He got gapped.
For WE.
He got collapsed in that last EDG
series. Is there anything you want to see from these guys tonight to kind of enable the rest of the team or enable themselves?
Well, I hate to, use such crude language, but I hope that they just are not terrible. I want them to be good. That is a very baseline expectation. I think everybody at home probably has for a lot of the players. I don't know, man. Like, Care has so many games where he is just, at best, invisible. Like, there's a reason why we don't see any Orianna for this guy. That the one Orianna we got was in that clip, and he had a completely terrible shockwave, but we can blame that on his top laner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? You got Hoya on your team. But Karis has had a much better split in comparison. And I think that is an indictment towards Care, who has been a part of the league for longer, who's had a lot more time to really build himself up, and while his teams haven't been always very good, this is supposed to be a fresh start for him. So far NiP have been very surprising. I think this year could do a lot to rewrite some of the narrative around Care if he can have good performances like tonight.
Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe it's a little bit of a leaping off point going into those playoffs, or the Knights Road at least. We get to have a little bit of fun here because, we have a little bit of time because I think this being the day after the last game, I don't know how, the air is going to be. I'm sure it's going to be serious. You got to win. You got to get the right placements, but I do wonder if we're going to see a little bit more aggression tonight from these two teams who tend to be very chaotic. As we get in the first phase of bans, we do get the Orianna and the Ryze control mage bans away from NiP, and it's going to be Nico and Jace by WE.
Yeah, so Yao Yao doesn't play any Nico from what we have seen, so that is just a champion that's been permanently banned by WE. They're going to get rid of the Varus because it is now a flex with Hoya being the only Varus top in the world. See what the first pick is going to be. Azir is okay. It's a takeaway from Karus, but I think Kair has not really performed. Also, I just want to mention, because this is an additional game being played at the end of the season, or a best of 3 that's being played, we are fully remote for this game. So there are no stage games being played. Both teams are in their homes currently playing. So that is probably why you're not seeing any players on screen right now.
Yeah, that's maybe a little bit of a difference. But that being said, hopefully no tech issues, and cross my fingers.
Don't say that, Lennon. Just
we got the Ionian duo here, the killers of Atakan. We got Yunara and Zinzao. Got to throw a little bit of lore in there. We'll see what a couple answers are going to be from NiP though, but that does mean that WE are going to have that final pick of the first phase at least. The Aphelios immediately comes through for NiP.
I think you need to be taking away an Enchanter support. I think you can go for the Lulu here on 3. The lane is a bit tougher. We've seen Aphelios Ryze as an answer into the Yunara, has similar spikes, also has just a stronger laning phase thanks to access to things like the lethality in his kit. And Thresh has started to pop up as an engaged champion, but I think it's really worrisome if you're going to be playing later into the game and you have that Lulu to not only buff Yunara, but also this Xin Zhao later. So that's going to be the snap here for WE. You already have a very strong team fighting core on 2 items. Now I need to see what NiP are going to be able to do in the laning phase so far with these matchups.
At least it means we can maybe get a little bit more attention to that bot lane. Something I know we wanted to see at least. The Malphite's going to be banned away in the second phase, so taking away some engaged tools from NiP. It has been, a big focus, at least for Guwon. He's not necessarily going for all the carry picks, but like I said earlier, kind of facilitation for the team. We do get the Akali ban towards Karus. This has been something that's like 50% of the time against WE.
Almost, yeah.
It gets banned away.
I like these answers from WE. Let's get rid of all of the potential to engage. NiP have very strong team fighting. You have an Azir, one of the most premier mages in mid lane and just blind champions in general. And Aphelios can be a very, very strong fighter. Now let's just get rid of ways for them to, start that, be the trigger pull for the team. For Guwon, we still have Vi in this game, which I think could be very strong. You still have things like the Pantheon, which, while a little bit weaker into the Lulu, does provide them the side lane protection for this Azir. We got rid of all the strong mages that might deal with an Azir early on in the LeBlanc and Akali. So for for WE, what else are we going here for Karus? I mean, I'm looking at his mid lane champions. Ryze is going to be a little bit weaker. You could go for Mel. We're going to go instead for more range. So top lane right now, Sion is like the arms race now because you have no other front line for your Ziggs and your Yunara.
We have been seeing the Ziggs as a really nice answer into the Azir with some of that poke potential as well. But we'll see what the final pick is going to be, the counter pick for WE as Renekton is locked in for NiP. So pretty strong solo lanes at least so far.
I do not want to see a Cassante here for Cube. Please do not pick Cassante. I know it's into Renekton. You'll go down 10, 15 CS in the early game, and then you'll be a Giga Tank for the rest. But I think you need a champion that is not only going to be resolute, but also just permanently stand in front of the enemy team. We're getting a Game 1 Kiana here from Guwon. 3 games played on this champion so far. I'm not going to lie, Lennon. I really don't like it, though.
I don't like it, bro.
There's very little front line for this backline that we were just setting up. So I don't think you're playing Olaf into Renekton.
Even the best teams in Group Ascend get baited by this pick. It looks good for like 15 minutes into the game, and then it gets completely turned around as the Gwen is the lock-in.
Okay, so a couple of things. Lulu can only polymorph 1 target, so, if it's going to be a Renekton or if it's going to be this Kiana, you have to pick your targets there. And there's just not very much frontline. The Xin Zhao is basically your biggest frontline in terms of just having the Crescent Guard. So for NiP, this game should be easier. You have a Thresh, you have a Renekton. You also have a lot of winning lanes here in the top and bottom lane. So unless we are able to really get the pace of the game rolling early, or if Cube goes for combat summoners early, this is going to be yet another game where we see WE at 15 minutes down like 1,500 gold, which has become a staple of their play here in the LPL.
Does it turn around at some point, though, for them? They do have some good scaling tools as it goes.
I mean, sure, but you have to...
But no, not enough.
NiP have to allow you to get to that point. Like, if you are playing Renekton into Gwen, and Gwen has not been solo killed or killed by the jungler at least once in the laning phase, sure. Later on, when she hits her 2 and 3 items, she'll be very powerful, but she should not be allowed to live in this lane. Bottom lane, the same thing. Lulu Yunara should not survive a Thresh and an Aphelios for the first 10 minutes of the game. It should be very difficult for them to play.
So it definitely means a little bit more propensity for violence towards the bot lane. Maybe we'll get to see a little bit of fireworks going, but that means we're going to be getting close to this game number 1 of our now final series of the LPL 2026 Winter Split. We are on to the Rift, and we are in it to win it for the final placings of the Knights Rivals Tournament. NiP versus WE.
We don't have to wait for... No! This is your fault. This is your fault.
Incredible.
You literally called it, and thankfully we have a timestamp from our producer who was very mad that you decided to do this 6 minutes ago. Talking
Give me
about,
the belt.
I just hope there are
Give me the
no
belt.
delays. And then you do this. I was going to say we don't have to wait for Gyos because we're online, and then you threw us into a pause. This is your fault.
This is what happens when the LPL goes remote. That's what happens.
No,
Not my
it doesn't
fault.
have to be. We can do better. We can break the chain.
We should do better. But this is for, however long I've been casting LPL. Anytime anything's remote, there's always something. There's always something that goes wrong. So, now we get to... we can bring back up the grind. We just redo the pre-show. That's what we do. We just go through the whole thing again. Do we just sit here in silence while you... Yeah, I'm just going to keep talking to myself.
I'm pissed, guys. You guys don't get it. We're trying not to have these delays. Look, let's just be honest here, Ludden. There's a lot of things going on. There's a best of 3 happening in the LCK Cup for their play-ins, which I think is cute. Talked about it in my tweet if you didn't see, but Taeyun is playing while his former team is playing. Very nice. Hopefully we can see some success for there. But
you just
we
told
are
a bunch
also
of people
online.
to go watch LCK right now.
I did not say for them to go watch LCK. If anything, I'm
gonna,
telling them not to watch LCK.
There's no game
but
here. There's a game going on over there.
You know who did tell them to go watch LCK?
Not me.
You did, because
Nah,
you
that's
called
not
for a
true.
pause.
I said you.
This is your fault.
I might take the blame, but it's okay. It's all about forgiveness. And now you got to forgive me because we're back into the game because I was pressing
I don't have
my
to do that. You did not get us out of this pause. You did not
I
get
was
us out.
pressing the caster start the game button the entire time, Alec, all right?
All right. So I don't see anything funky with the runes. Cash back on both our AD carries. That's fine. We're seeing a little bit of trading on the bottom side. Oh, we have Cube with the Ignite instead of the Flash. Gwen has been a champion that in general has not really seen too much Flash usage in general. This AI bot has 0 favorings for WE, and I think that is very correct.
I know we were getting a little bit of action down here in this 2v2, but can we theory craft a little bit there? Because I still feel like top lane is so discovered on what you can do with the free TP that comes with it. Why would you not go Flash? Okay, well, About's going to get hooked again. I feel like a little bit of damage back, but you are going to get a couple summoner spells to keep that healing going. You do have that extra damage coming down as well, but it's just going to be some heavy
we're
trades.
just level 3 ganking.
We're just
Wait,
going
this
to
is
go
3
all the way. Guon just going straight to the top lane, straight to Cube, and straight to the heart of WE. First blood for NiP.
All right, we're hitting the checklist right now. We're making sure that Gwen gets killed early, before 3 minutes, done already, and the wave is in such a good spot. Now, kind of going back to what you were talking about for the teleport, I think in pro play, timings are really, really specific, and having a 90 seconds bonus on top of your teleport if you take the additional combat sub is really dangerous. So you have to be very, very particular. Guwon is going to fall behind at least a camp here. He's going to get spotted now, but there's not really much to do here. Monkey is much stronger, double buffs on the Xin Zhao, and can completely screen him from his camps. I mean, Kara's never going to be able to move, so I think it's a really good play coming in from Monkey. He's getting a little bit of chipped engine. Maybe he even gets double scuttle here, which if he does, he's going to hit level 6 before that third scuttle spawns.
Give him a little bit of bot side. It's a bit, oh man, you just eating hooks day after day about. Gotta get you something else for breakfast.
This is my worry about WE, is that their early game is so abysmal. Like, not only are we just taking bad matchups from the draft, in general, they are one of the worst teams, not in group perseverance in total, but in the league right now. Minus 600 gold on average at 15. They are a team that really struggle with trying to generate leads in their lanes. Top lane's already been killed thanks to Guwon helping. Bottom lane, that was a great play. And even if Guwon loses his double Raptors, Monkey getting a lead is kind of the only way I can see WE winning anyway.
He's going to keep trying. He's going to keep going on to Guwon. He's about to have the 3-talent strike up, and Guwon goes with the flash, knows he could save it. But it's going to be Monkey now having pressed into NiP's jungle, both in bot and in top.
Can Monkey make a difference, though? That's a big question.
Yeah.
He's been a player that we've been a little bit down on so far this split. Individually, I think his mechanics have not been up to snuff, and even as the leader for this team, he has had a lot of big mistakes that have cost them games. But he has a huge lead, Lennon. I mean, it may not show in the jungle treats because you can only get so many this early on, but he is really far ahead. He is almost a full level up in the jungle, and we rarely see that in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, I was flabbergasted that we had like a 2-level lead in the jungle the other day, but level still is shocking. And another hook lands from Guo. Incredible accuracy so far. Might be even close to 100% there. And they will just continuously put down this bot lane, just as you said from the draft.
This is good. So we're pushing in on bottom lane. Are we going to go for another one? I mean, Guwon's just trying to steal a camp. I think we're just playing for our jungler at this point. A play underneath this turret, I think, is really, really risky because Monkey is farming up. He is going to be finishing all of his top side. And there's going to be another play there. Monkey's going to try and do something against Hoya. Hoya has hit level 6.
Oh, but he goes back in. Might have just taken the bait. Now Monkey has a good angle on him. Going to get the Dominus here in a moment. Maybe not even going to pop it just yet. Just going to hold on to it. The help of the needlework starts coming in. He has to go ahead and pop the Dominus, but he ain't dominating nothing. Monkey goes ahead and claims his head. That's going to be Guwon stealing away the bot. All
right. Gwen, how much are we able to get here? The wave's pushing. I'm looking currently at the top side jungle. Can I hold this as there's a play? Joel's looking for something.
Well, if the hook does land, it's going to be big. You said that you can only polymorph one character, and that will be the one that gets taken. Another death sentence lands. He will falter for it and fall. And Yao Yao will survive. It's going to be relentless pressure from NiP so far in this game.
Yeah, NiP, they're putting so much focus on this bottom lane. Kare's getting a bit of poke from Karis, but should be fine. I think what I'm now going to be looking at is Monkey got to steal the Raptors this time, and he's going to get the topside scuttle. He is going to hit level 6 here at the 615 mark, and he has his bottom side that's going to be respawning with this red buff soon. So I don't think WE can really go for Dragon. This is a very worrisome start to the game where we've seen Monkey get himself a lead and put Guwon in a bit of a hole, but Guwon has decided to sacrifice this fast farming Kiana to just make sure his lanes get kickstarted early.
Yeah, and with how he's talked about it from the draft, I think that's perfectly fine because his lanes are incredibly strong. And we'll see how that comes to a head here when we get to these objectives. Obviously, the first dragon is already up on the board right now, has been for a little while. But there's going to be those grubs in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Kare going to stop off, get some honey fruit, and get a nice chunk of healing back. And I'm sure some more oppression is heading about its way down here. Looks like he wants to make a play. Awesome does have that Moonlight Vigil. Has the chakram, has the calibrum, gonna hit one, go with the double combo. That is beautifully executed from Awesome, but it's not enough to get the kill. And now Monkey, he's coming for the revenge. He says, you come attack my bot lane over and over again. I want to do something about it. He does come out the Crescent Guard. He's gonna block a decent amount of damage, goes for the flash, but he gets dragged into the turret.
Wait.
Monkey taking the extra shot, he's gonna go down.
And do they keep trying for more? Because Kiana's here, we're just stealing away some camps, has level 6 and no flash here for About. Yao with this polymorph can completely change this play.
Oh, About goes straight in, but he gets the kill. Almost goes down to Awesome, and now Guwon's trying to clean up a little bit, but he's in some trouble here. He goes for the Supreme Display of Talent and just gets the kill straight up onto About.
We'll forgive the ultimate because we still got the kill. That's the most important part. I need to see a beeline here, and we are going to have the grub spawning now, and you have to be very worried as Team WE to give these grubs over. If you get these grubs, you can have a Ziggs. Is this okay? So Cars just uses his flash. Wow!
He escaped. Wow. That was insane.
It's just a survival, you know. But I really want to see them with grubs. Obviously, with turret plates everywhere in the game for the new season, it means there's so much gold. Grubs plus the Ziggs structures will be deleted. So I don't think NiP can play for this. That TP from Dro with the Unsealed Spellbook meant that he's just going to be committed to the bot lane. It's going to be a big win for WE. It's just, can we get to the side lanes? Because we've started to at least bleed some of this gold out, but the bottom lane is so far behind.
I'm just going to say, it's looking exactly like we expected. A little bit of back and forth, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of here and there. But now we're you know, all online. We all have ults. We're getting closer and closer to completing those quests and first items, all that good stuff. Is there that change in tempo that you're saying? Still that strength here within those first 10 minutes? Is that propelling a little bit further here for NiP with some of the leads they've gotten?
For Ninjas in Pajamas, it's difficult because you've given over some kills back, so this bot lane matchup is not as bad, but you're down 20 as this Yunara. You're also 1-3 at this point, so your item is going to be delayed in comparison to enemy AD. But top lane has been completely neutralized. Like, Cube died once, and then that was it. And he got an assist when he got the kill back on Ahoya. So I think everybody else is doing fine, and that was the big worry for this game, was the two outside lanes.
Oh, we're getting a slap box from fighting top lane. Dominus flash from Hoya to get the healing going. He's still got the rage bar coming, but it's not going to be enough. That little girl's got scissors, and she's trying to snip down the croc, and that's going to be huge. Big solo bolo for Cube. Now we got it all in from About. He wants to go into Awesome. He goes ahead with the cleanse, gets the double hit with the Eye of Ruin, but it's going to be a little head knock up from that wild growth. That does not matter. Awesome gets the kill, and that's going to be his second.
I just think we are never going to be skirmishing there as WE. A small mistake. He didn't know Guwon was there. Dro's Thresh this game has been impeccable, giving so much value, not just with the hooks, but the Flay versus this Xin Zhao later. Didn't touch on it, but it's going to be a big game changer for them. Ninjas Pajamas now get more plates on the bottom side. And that bottom lane that we were talking about was at least doing well for them, or holding off this aggression. Now it balloons. It was 200 gold, now it's 1,000 plus on that.
Yeah. It's a snowball from hell right there, that's for sure. I got to give a little proud shout out to Guwon as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's the one and the only one that's touched Monkey's Krugs on the bot side this whole game, and he's done a really good job of, you know, stealing back some of this lead. It's still a little bit of a lead for Monkey, but he's dipping and diving, trying to find a little bit of gold. Whoa, just gonna dive straight into the face of Monkey with Yao, and Red-White also wants to fight. He's got the Crescent Guard at least coming out from Monkey. Awesome. He's staying in it. Has the death sentence, or at least the dark passage there, but can't take it.
That's pretty ugly. That's 500 gold, 300 of it going over to Monkey, and then you're giving plates over with 3 grubs. So bit of a problematic look. Great Ziggs ultimate to stop Care from getting more of this wave. And the timers are good. Dragon doesn't spawn for another 2. A small outplay, I think, for WE, because NiP were just walking to lane. They thought it was regular business. This was just going to be us walking back to the bottom lane, catching a few waves, and being able to exercise our will. About's now caught up. He's only down his boots, but he traded that in for a slingshot. I think that while WE, we've had some concerns about their game. Now he's gonna go on.
No
Look,
way.
Surely they don't fall for it this time.
No way. Surely, of course not. Oh. I'm not gonna lie.
Ah, okay.
Guo just sold out Guon, bro.
He didn't know. He didn't know the timer there. I'll give him some credit. Guo might find a hook here. Another turret plate that does go over. Remember, it's all about can we get priority for Dragon that spawns in soon and looking for something. Maybe a flash from Karis.
Karis is able to escape with just the satchel charge. That's going to be pretty good utilization. And we did finally hit those first item spikes here aplenty. And we will see that looting and some of that poke from Karis. That's going to be big, but still a little bit of an advantage right now, at least with that slingshot completed for about, but it's still that extra, 600 gold getting those boots completed for Awesome.
Just look at the difference in support items right now. It's only, there's not much, but the quality of the items I think is so important. Bandle pipes, it's cool, but you need to land your crowd control. Lulu has so many ways of applying her Ardent Sensor, and you have two really big auto attackers. Not including Gwen, because if Gwen gets those buffs, I think she's going to be a huge monster later. I think it's a very strong point in the game. It obviously gets better as we get more items, but this is a very strong spike for WE, and I'm wondering what objective we're going to be looking to fight over, because we're about 14 minutes, and there's only been one dragon taken, which doesn't mean we're going to have at least a little bit of a later game when it comes to dragon stacking.
We love to go late. We love to go chaotic here in this one, but it is also something that I wonder why the payoff wasn't there for NiP in terms of the aggression they were looking to use in that kind of 1 to 10 level mark. Because they got 4 kills on Guon, but it hasn't mattered all that much in the grand scheme.
Well, we griefed some of those. we did grief some of those kills. Like, Awesome dying twice, not great. Not awesome as we would say in the business, but how do you fight this now? He is so strong.
He just says, let's go. Wild throws as he popped there. Guon goes straight to the back line. I think Monkey just baited his entire team into a losing fight. He's going to find one back. Guo going to get a beautiful death sentence straight onto him, and Awesome is looking just that extra awesome that you were wanting. That's going to be a big pick setup here from NiP.
I think the idea for Monkey is great. We have a Lulu, I'm playing Xin, run at these guys, and they can't do anything about it. The issue is that maybe we're not expecting the timing. He does not know that Guon's in the area. He wins this 2v4. And Awesome's also on his way. Yeah, we have flashes forward to give him the wild growth, and then Guon just completely ignores him, goes straight for the backline. If that doesn't happen with him and Care, I think it's a winning fight for WE, but a great turn here from NiP. Now gets them back in the lead. They get priority for this objective. Care's by himself. What's going on down here, brother?
Put up the sun disc, thought he was safe, but it is Karis who TP'd behind him. Was able to use that bouncing bomb to get him out of the way. It's going to be more gold going back to WE, even though, NiP still got about 1,000 gold lead. Oh, that sentence won't connect, but I appreciate the attempt from NiP at least.
You say there's 1,000 gold lead. I'm looking at the map right now. Dragon's going to go over to WE, and this Ziggs is about to blow up this bottom lane tier 1. There's going to be a lot of gold going back for them. The plates that are there, the objective gold. Awesome almost hits a 1v1. Oh, the flash from both of them. That's going to be an expensive take. Not having that versus in Azir later on is going to be massive. And again, Monkey still a big threat here in this game, despite being down 1,500.
Hey, and it fits the style. He's literally just been running at people here in this game, number 1 at least. Just kind of taking every engage he can. Now, he might get engaged on if he goes a little bit too far into his jungle. Guon has been taking away a lot of that. Satchel charge going to knock Awesome into the wall, but we'll be fine for that. And we'll still have a little bit of focus towards this top side for the Rift Herald that is available to both teams.
We got to get Azir over here. He doesn't have teleport, and there's another wave that he's going for. You see that right now Monkey is walking down, does reveal him with the Phallites on these Krugs. Very cute cancel Tiamat there coming in from Hoya, but yeah, with Monkey now showing on bottom side, Care drawing a little bit of attention towards that lane. Herald's gonna go over. I think it's not a bad trade as WE are at the moment just, they know that they don't have a timer. They don't have flash on their AD carry. We're about to hit some pretty big breakpoints. Level 11 for Monkey is huge, so
We'll see. I thought he was maybe looking for the dive there, but Awesome actually going to be caught in transition here. He needs to be very careful. He's going to go back. Triple challenge strike straight from Monkey, and he's losing his health bar too quickly. Mega Inferno Bomb came over the top as well, and NiP have been scattered to the winds here like ashes. Cube takes the rear engage here and gets taken down as a little bit of recompense for NiP, but Monkey's just going to chase them down all along as he's looking to rack up more kills. Hoya does heal through. Will be the audacious charge coming through, but that's it for WE as they even the game score at least, and they even the gold score right now as about 1,000 gold has been ripped away from NiP.
Another turret in mid falls thanks to Karis. These 3 grubs giving them a lot of value. And the big question from draft was, can WE survive the early lanes to get to the part of the game where they are advantaged? And Monkey right now is at that point, like, you can't take this path as Awesome. You have no flash. Joel's in the opposite side, and while Guwon can be there, this is a great pinch coming in from Monkey. He knows he's untouchable in this play, and with Ziggs trying to help from the other side, it's really tough. I mean, Cube also wasn't put down far enough. He buys time for his team. If Hoya and Guwon got to this fight earlier, maybe they could have turned it. Ends up being a reality we will never live in, or we won't know for the time being. So, NiP are now losing out big time on the map, and that early lane priority that they had isn't transitioning into wins. Now, the thing I will give them is that they're coming upon really big item spikes. Infinity Edge was just completed for Awesome, and Kara's almost done with his Shadow Flame. If we can get there and we can get a straight team fight, that'll be good. We talked about some of the worries with not having a real front line.
Guwon just almost
there's a teleport. He's just
straight
dead.
up, and Cube has come over. Guwon's gone.
I can't believe WE are going to win this game. This is so disgusting. All right, Awesome. There we go. We're out. Threshold help. But they're pushing in 2 lanes, Lennon. Like, this shouldn't be allowed. Why is this happening?
This is a toughie for sure. I want to know what Guwon's feeling is, because that man was 6-1, and he died not greatly right there, obviously, but it's just like one of those classic solo queue moments. You look at the scoreboard like, I should be winning, but we're not.
He's the only gold lead at this point, so gotta do something. They'll get a plate on bottom side for Hoya, and the teleport there from Karis. Maybe there's a play, but this is something that we addressed in the draft was Care at his best on some of these champions tends to be invisible, and we have not seen him in a big team fight. I mean, in general, we have not seen a 5-on-5 team fight from these guys. And if everything keeps going as is, WE are going to continue to eke out an advantage here in this game. They don't care that their mid lane turret is under siege right now, because this Xin Zhao with this Lulu pairing is obnoxious. Yeah. And we're going to have Dragon spawning at 30. If there's ever a time for a Baron, you are going to be hard pressed as NiP walking in.
I did see the mid turret getting a little bit low from the siege. As repelled. Did get popped then in the end. I will note, while I was talking about Guwon, he's on 3 items. He's got the Serpent's Fang now, so a little bit of that shielding from the Lulu is going to be negated there. But all those other item spikes you were talking about coming here is a little bit too late now to be finishing those as Dragon is spawning, and see the kind of tempo that wants to be played around here and how much NiP want to commit to trying to get some of these Dragons going, because we were talking about some of that objective focus, and especially around Dragons for both these teams early.
Grabbing that mid-tier 1 is giving WE the strength and the confidence to walk forward, and NiP the fear of going any much more into that mid lane right now. Gwen and Xin Zhao are going to turn taking this turret, so any dreams of a Dragon stacking, of getting Ocean Soul to potentially save you here in this game, fading very quickly for Ninjas of the Pajamas. This lead from bottom lane is almost completely evaporated at this point. About and Awesome are very similar in terms of gold and in terms of experience. Ziggs is going to consistently counter anything, and we had a problem, right? I think that this draft from WE is very tricky to play if you have no front line, but we saw 0 proactivity outside of those early ganks, and we didn't transition those leads into anything bigger, which I think is a pretty large disappointment from NiP.
And that's the transition conversation that I worry about, because when you look into the Knights Rivals tournament, when you look into that run into playoffs, you need to be able to execute and transition early advantages into late game. Because I feel like something we've noticed so much about this current meta that we have.
This AI, bro!
Should be able to get out of there. One thing we've noticed is, like, I know Jay Beto was talking about it last night as well, but like the gold leads feel kind of fake in some regards. Like, there are a lot of catch-up mechanics right now in League of Legends, and I think teams have started to realize how to use those efficiently as weapons. As speaking of, a couple weapons going down to Cube, but I don't think they could do this. I don't know. We'll see. He does have 2.5 items.
If he shows here, that's Baron immediately here for WE. So that needed to be a play. They weren't able to find anything. I mean, we touched on it very briefly, but this league season, I would say, is the inflation season. There is gold everywhere. There are turret plates abound. Everything is worth a lot of gold. I mean, we have First Blood that's obviously back, so you get a little bit more in the early game. That only happens once in the game. Well, yeah, you've got Dominus, you got Slice and Dice. You're probably fine here. He's going to get the teleport out from Dwove here. It just feels like now NiP are just being drawn across the map. Again, 3 grubs and the Ziggs means that this turret is essentially, in about a moment or two, pretty much gone.
Squeezed like the lemon color of their uniform, WE. And be putting it on to NiP here. And you see continuing. Monkey gonna get the wild growth. Oh, he misses the wind comes lightning. Nice flash from Guan.
I'm not letting you get away from that. I'm not letting you get away from that. It's not lemon. This is green. Are you? Okay, this is a real question. I'm not trying to
Highlighter
be
yellow.
Are you colorblind?
No. But
Okay,
like,
that's a lime.
you know,
That's
on
lime
some-
green then.
On
That's lime
some
green.
things, okay, make it a lime then. There you go.
That's not a
Look,
lemon.
Take your pick. Citrus. Could be orange if you want it to be.
No, definitely can't be orange. Let's
OMG,
All
where
right,
you
real
at?
quick. What color is WE?
Purple. No, red.
Now, what fruit would you pair with this red?
Ooh, there's a, you know, the really psychotic answer I feel like is watermelon because the inside is red, but the real answer is apple.
I mean, I guess watermelon one. We're gonna have this destination. All right, let's get back
I'm
to
a biologist. I'm not a fruit man. All right.
You're literally your name was Lemons for like the first half. Whatever. Bro, just get this pairing from WE.
All right, yeah, they're just gonna take it. You want my go over the edge here. Oh, well, misses the left sentence there. Moonlight Vigil on a multi-member. 3,000 health down. Cube goes over the wall. Guan is the Baron. He goes down immediately, and Monkey wants to make sure nobody is alive to tail the tail. As now Awesome is trying to get away, but he's just getting dashed on. Monkey gets, and Emperor is divided to death. And I don't think WE can chase down the rest of the members here. Boy is getting gold 2 in the mid lane.
Okay, he teleported, and he got a single turret. I guess we'll just say that's worth. Baron gives them 1,500 gold, and WE, well, some of their members are able to survive from that one. An amazing steal from Guan. For the time being, keeps them in the game. Do I think it realistically changes the flavor of what we've seen this game? That one I'm a bit more hesitant to call. So, Dragon spawns in a minute, Lennon, and now I'm looking at really important summoner spells. I think the big win here for WE is that Awesome, no flash going into this objective. Take a look back at this Baron. Yeah, the Moonlight Vigil lands onto 2, but a heal from Yao Yao and all the shielding is great. Cube has no crowd control to stop this Kiana from getting in, so he just slides over that wall. Cool. I mean, this is a big overextension from Monkey, and this has been the problem we've had from him this season. Is he feels sometimes he's the main character, like he can just do no wrong in some of these fights, and that has led to WE having some pretty big problems in their games.
Just so surprised he didn't even spy. I mean, obviously, like trying to. Oh. Okay, Monkey says, Guan, you want to fight? I'll take that fight. Supreme player talent hits him. The Mega Inferno Bomb does
Hoya,
go over his
Hoya,
head.
Hoya!
Hoya finds the back line, finds access, finds damage, and here comes Care. They're dashing and flashing all over WE, and that lead has crumpled. Hoya is going to try to get out of that one. The needlework going through. Dead Sentence lands. I don't know if you wanted to hit that
What
one,
is
but
Schwo
the CC
doing?
is maybe enough. Big Moonlight Vigil.
Oh!
That's going to be a Caliber onto About, onto Cube. And About still survived. But NiP, all of a sudden you blink and you miss it. 1,000 gold up.
This gold graph is going to be so cringe to watch, man. I can't wait till we get to the end of the post game and we just see this, man. It's going to be really, really straight. It's going to be an LPL gold graph of all time. They take a fight. I mean,
Dude,
we'll look back at this.
Hits Monkey once, and Monkey's like, no, we're fighting.
I mean, he has a Lulu next to him. Honestly, I get it. I completely understand. He thinks they could do this. This is an amazing flank from Hoya. Flash, while he does get polymorph, stun goes on to Yao Yao, goes on to About, forces the cleanse and the Mikhails here from Yao Yao to try to get Monkey out of the death sentence. And this is where it gets a little bit strange. We wanted to see the solo laners get in, and while it was a quieter game for Hoya and Care past the 10-minute mark, this is the fight that we needed to see from them. This is the big turnaround that we needed to see, because I mean, this Renekton is kind of the big front line for NiP in this game.
And now we're looking at big item completions continuing here. 4th item now for Guan. As the siege continues, it's going to be big CC chain on a Monkey. Monkey's thinking about going back in, wants to try to get the back off here, but you got to think about how NiP has utilized some of these lanes. Hoya has been picking up the slack with some of this side lane gold, and now this siege is just coming for all that WE.
Oh,
and About overextends. He's going to take one down with him, but was it worth it?
I'll take that. That's enemy 80 carries down, and we've got a Ziggs. We can always wave clear. Even if he's on the bottom lane here, he could just throw a Mega Inferno Bomb, and that's a wave gone. Cube's also pushing on the top side. In this game, I do think that Hoya has had a bigger impact so far. Cube is reaching level 18, and that could be a very big spike for them. You know, we can go even further, go 19, go 20. Might see top laners actually do something in the season, but I can't believe it's taken 29 minutes for them to really be a part of the game.
I mean, honestly, with the way things are going, I expect another 25 minutes to come around. And see if they can really get all the way the distance. I mean, we've gone 2-2 in Dragons. We've had split objectives in the top side of the map. We've had chaotic fights, gold lead swinging back and forth. This is exactly how we want to cap things off here. But I guess that being said, like, the item spikes will continue, and we talked a little bit about scaling for both sides, but I do appreciate that kind of everybody's going to have their tools to some regard. I mean, we even have that Randuin's complete for Monkey to try to be tankier and slow down that AoE around him too when he goes in, but everybody's going to have their kind of piece to the pie.
Yeah, everyone's going to kind of get in here because we don't have traditional front lines built into the teams. It's a Xin Zhao here for WE with a Lulu, so reasonable enough, and then there's a big Renekton on the other side. Zhuo has 3,000 HP and 110 armor. This guy dies instantly to like a Ziggs or even this Yunara champion. So 2 minutes, Lennon, before we have soul point for either team available. And with a 2,000 gold lead here for NiP, what I want to see from the Ninjas in Pajamas is just get a good team fight where we can get Hoya on a flank. There is nothing that they can do to stop this guy from really getting into the back line. If we have a front to back, I'm expecting for WE to win that.
Guan's going the long way. He's got that speed up there. He's going to look for an angle on the Cube. Cube doesn't know yet. Hoya goes ahead and goes straight in. The CC chain is on to Hoya, or at least on to Cube now with that supreme display of talent. Guan goes for the snipe but can't get it, but he will fall anyways. Hoya gets the kill.
That's great, and this gives NiP time to push this bottom lane wave. You can give up some of the mid wave, and then either look for a play that protects Care, who is pushing on top lane, or just give you priority over this dragon spawning in a minute and a half. This is a really smart timer for them to find. This gives them the ability to put vision down, so good spot from Guan and from Hoya, working very well for themselves. Instead of doing that, they just want to clear all this vision on the top. I mean, I won't lie, Lennon. You got an Azir, you got an Aphelios on 4 items. Maybe we're just starting this.
They have Runans as well completed, so this AoE fight could be very good for Awesome. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to do a good chunk of damage. The Baron getting low, Baron going down. Monkey has found, but a beautiful
look at Awesome.
Moonlight Visual from Awesome, and now they try to go for the backline access, but Care can't really do much. Kara's going to flash away from him as well. It's going to be the Baron NiP, and the siege can continue. But it's going to be WE who made it out mostly intact.
Oh, WE weren't able. They had too many trips and fumbles between the 10 and 20 minute mark. And now NiP, I mean, Baron, they're going to recall because they know they have to get ready for Dragon that's going to be spawning soon. I don't really want to see them invest a lot of resources to this Dragon. Let someone solo this objective, and let's use the Baron that's going to be here for 2 minutes. I think this is a huge objective for them to have found, and you killed Monkey, so this Dragon should be going over for free. Remember, this is all precipitated by the fact that they found Cube on a side lane beforehand, allowed for them to move in, And you mentioned it at the beginning of that fight, but awesome. That Moonlight Vigil just took out so much
Beautiful.
HP from WE.
And I'm not going to lie, maybe looking at it from in-game, but Monkey has kind of left his backline out to dry, and that is a symptom of not having multiple tank options to shore up that front line. As he goes in, NiP can find access. And speaking of finding access, I got to say, Guon is quietly having an incredible game. Maybe the stats earlier on weren't looking too great, but he's got a 2,000 gold lead. He's up like 50 CS over Monkey. And it all started with that early proactivity in the top lane, then going all the way to bot lane, stealing the Baron. There's been a lot of spotlight plays for this guy so far in game number 1 of this series.
Yeah. Guon has had the biggest step up because we were worried after his time on DFM and the LCP about, is this guy actually going to be the real deal? And he's really come to play so far. He has the most pogs for this team. And so it'll be interesting to see whether or not he can match a player in Monkey, who we were very excited coming in. This should have been the year of this WE team after the success that they had, but Split 3 may have been a bigger forewarning of what this team was going to look like going into the new year, even with a new bottom lane. So still a minute left with this Baron. NiP now make the gold lead go from 1,000 to 6,000 very quickly. The wave clear for WE is going to be the shining, the knight in shining armor for them. It's the only thing that's going to keep them afloat here in this game for the next few moments.
It's just crazy to me how quickly these leads and things have gone, right? Like the swap over to NiP getting the lead was huge, as we see the flashing being expended here on the top side while WE loses everything back at home. Should be a little bit of an engage on bot side by Hoya. He'll have to run away a little bit. It's going to be a big pick potentially, as it is going to be the inhib in mid lane that finally falls. Are they just going to go hop on down to the bot lane? Do they want to go to top lane? There's going to be some potential more damage, but Baron's going to be falling off in about 5 seconds.
I think Azir is going to be fine by himself even now. Flash. I mean, About has no flash now, so that brother is dead.
Dark passage.
Maybe it's Cube instead.
He doesn't have. Oh, if that sentence does land, maybe it's a little bit different, but they will get the turret for it, I believe.
Ooh.
Nice little hook lands on a Monkey. Monkey will be probably the person he doesn't want to bring in there, as it will be a utilization to get him away from that one with that CC. And WE live to fight another day at least. They will need to think about their options coming to that next dragon, which will be Soul for NiP.
I'm just looking back at that top lane play where About loses his flash to try to trade on a Care. I mean, Care has a free flash in his basic abilities, and About has to use his ultimate to get his. So you're playing against a Kiana and a Renekton. You're going to have to be really, really resilient, very careful about your positioning here in this game. Remember, winner of this match here in this tiebreaker goes into first place, and you're going to be playing against IG if you are the first place team from Group Perseverance, which I think is a really, really big win, because Top Esports, they have looked way more convincing at the end of the season comparatively to Invictus Gaming. So if you want any chances of immediately qualifying for this Group Ascend in Split 2, that is kind of your big ticket.
All right, well, we plainly see the strategy of WE. Let's group, let's four-man, let's walk around as a team, and survive, at least. There will be another Baron coming up in about a minute and a half, but I think that big prio objective is going to be the Dragon and NiP. They're looking a little bit sneaky here, as they are around the backside of WE's advances out on the map, but everything should be right as rain for them now, as they all kind of retreat back to bases. There's going to be a little bit of a side lane push coming through from Cube on the top side, but he will have TP to get down to this fight.
It's very important that he gets this wave in right now, because someone's going to have to answer him, even if it is just the Renekton who's going to teleport anyway. Gwen doesn't even have to use the teleporter if she really doesn't want to. She can take this wave and immediately skip into the bottom side here. Yep, goes straight into Fog of War. It's spotted out by the Vision Cone. Dragon spawns in a minute. It is all darkness. You can see the observers there. Toggle the vision. Gwen can try to make a flank. They're going to see if they can play on this mid wave. So important here for WE. NiP have consistently in these series fallen a little short versus WE. Even with Ocean Soul, they have lost a game to this team in the regular season. And so maybe we go back in time. Maybe we revert their fates. Maybe NiP can close out this game number 1 versus WE. And this would be a big win for them if they can do that. Remember, best of 3 here tonight.
As you say, we found ourselves here before with the Dragon Soul on the edge. and it being an Ocean Soul. That Sun Disc going to come up. A lot of damage going on to About there with some of the poke. Awesome. Going to miss the Moonlight Vigil in the end, and Cube has arrived. Neither TP is going to really be utilized for that extra shielding here, but Monkey getting CC locked out, just dead. The item spikes have come online, and that's going to be NiP cleaning house here. Baron is on the platter, just delivered to them by Monkey himself.
Hey, you said Monkey was too far ahead of his backline. Well, there was a perfect example. Why are we standing there without our Lulu? The whole point of this composition, at least from what we have seen and what we can theorize, is Lulu makes this Xin Zhao champion literally Thanos. But if Lulu's not there, and if About's not there, and my damage is in Narnia, well then who's driving the bus? I mean,
a bear.
WE are never winning this one now. So Ocean Soul goes over Ninjas of Pajamas, and almost assuredly a Game 1 win will be awarded to them at this point.
And I think, obviously, Monkey is a newer player. Had a little bit of cutting of his teeth, last year, but it's one of those things that you typically see in kind of those headstrong junglers, and sometimes it really works. I think that there's a lot of players in the LPL that it does work for, but it's the consistency behind it that's the biggest issue, and I think you're seeing a little bit here what NiP with a little bit of reservation in the key moments can truly do. And now Guan has GA. His entire team is pushing. They've got a 9,000 gold lead and Ocean Soul. They got everything they wanted, and they are eating that cake too.
Let them eat cake, says NiP. We will take all of your jungle camps, all of your minion waves, and at this point all of your inhibitors. The mid lane one just now falling. And then now it is all about a base defense. Monkey's going to go into Hoya, but Ocean Soul means he takes no damage. He's going to fully reset here. And a teleport coming on as well. I think this is going to be the end of the game here for NiP.
Hopefully,
we are having some technical issues right now. It's okay, guys. I'm hoping.
Who you broadcast? Who you broadcast? Let's go.
All right, Lennon. We need to cast ourselves into the future here. Okay. Do we think WE completely biffed this one?
Well,
yes.
We just got caught up, and yes, they did. You got your answer here, Alk, and NiP got theirs. At least for one game, they have reversed those fates. They have taken down WE. Now they're one game away from claiming the top of Group Perseverance.
Blink and you miss it, folks. It was just a really long blink.
And the gold leads, everything, it all just made sense. It's all part of the narrative.
I cannot wait to see this gold graft and laugh. It is going to be perfection coming in from these teams. Early game was good. The mid game was a little bit wonky, which was kind of where we could have seen WE start to get their get back. But just a lot of stumblings in the early game. Yes, this is a counter matchup in bottom lane, so they did well, but About took a little too many steps forward. Guess what? You know what that means? Ezreal game 2! Ezreal game 2!
Gotta go back to the comfort. It's not jail. You want to be there. Right? I love that it just got the smile and the laugh out of them. We'll see what they want to go with. I struggle because it's one of those things that Monkey played so aggressive, and I think it works for Team WE, but not having that kind of stable front line is going to be tough. And the Gwen is always so good, but you do wonder what this comp looked like if it maybe had one more tankier body in that front line to kind of be able to be that buffer against all of the backline access that NiP were able to get.
I don't know why we're giving Cube Gwen.
Yeah.
Cube, and this is not a great archetype because I think he doesn't have the skill to match this player, but I think he is emulating a lot of Flandre this season, where he is good on the tanks and the carries I don't want to see him on. And Hoya, for what it's worth, I will give him this. The last couple years on Thunder Talk have not been great. I do think that at a certain time when you've been losing so much, you just kind of get into that cycle, that really nasty cycle of, oh, we're going to lose, we make one mistake and we're just worse than a lot of the other teams, so you kind of just perpetuate almost like a victimhood for yourself, which I think is bad. And we were doing a lot of slandering of Hoya, some fair for what he's done, but so far this season, I think that his carries have been good. We've now seen 2 Varus top games. One of them was really strong. One was okay. We had a couple Gnar games that I think were great. His Rumble has seemed decent. His Renekton here in this game, while not in a great, a big equalizer for a lot of the game, he came into those late game team fights and was a menace. So I really want to give him his flowers. He was a player that previously we had spotlighted as potential an all-pro vote going up for the next couple of days. So I think him and the rest of the team actually do have some legs to stand on when we're talking about this Knights Rivals play-in.
All right, but speaking of legs to stand on, Guon, man. Guon was insane at this game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not the most crazy because the lead got so big at the end. So it makes the earlier ones smaller, but it's still crazy. And how quickly it went down. But I got to give massive shout out to Guon. The game started with his play and it ended with his play. And I think that's one of the biggest things for this guy is I see Guon and Monkey in a very similar fashion, not only in level, but kind of similar play styles in a lot of ways. But it was really nice to see Guon with the confidence to go Kiana game number 1. We talked about it from draft, and to have that much presence on the map.
It's also tough because Guon is coming in as a Korean import, right? Like, he doesn't immediately, at least from what I have seen from team content, doesn't have a super strong grasp of Mandarin. I kind of, it's funny, I pulled an interview from Karis from their game versus NiP in the regular season, and Karis specifically stated, it's my second year, and so my Mandarin isn't great, but I'm actually starting to get acclimated, and I'm trying to really spend a lot of time this year learning the language, which I think is cool. But Guon, for someone who is obviously an import, is doing really well so far, and I think is finding his feet here in the season.
Yeah, hey, maybe more carry performances coming in. Maybe the Viego. But I'm going to expect that Monkey feels like he wants a little bit of revenge after this game for sure. I think he's the type of guy that he'll double down on that kind of aggression and that forward pushing. So I do want to see what he's willing to go with that next game. But what went wrong here for W? Was it just the mistakes on positioning? Was it inherent strategy out? It just felt like it crumbled in the end.
I'm willing to excuse not having a front line because you have a Xin Zhao and a Lulu, so that should be reasonable enough. My problem is that this team just was not on the same page. A lot of the time, Karis is on another screen, which is fine in some fights when you're playing Ziggs, but in others, not great. And a lot of the times we start off these fights with saying, okay, Monkey is forward, Monkey is dead. Okay, there's the front line, it's dead now. So part of it is his fault, and part of it is that it just felt like WE were not cohesive here in this game number 1. And that's problematic because, again, this night's play-in tournament, it doesn't matter. Both teams will be playing in this tournament regardless, but you only have 2 days. And you're going to be going up against a Group Ascend team. You'll be starting in the upper bracket. You need every single little bit, especially because we have so many best-of-5s. You have 6 best-of-5s to get through in 3 days.
Yep.
9. Sorry, 9 best. No, 6. It was 6. Okay, I'm dumb.
Yeah, because it's the second round. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's gonna be wild. Hey, guys, LPL keeps us on our toes, I guess. These were the couple fights that we didn't actually get to end up seeing until this little section here. But
this one's also fake. They literally just put us in the just put us in the same one.
Yeah, why not? But I guess that brings us to the conversation of kind of who we think is going to be MVP for this one. I sang his praises earlier. I think Guon deserves a lot of praise for this one. Is there anybody else or a reason why you think Guon?
If it's not Guon, it's awesome. Multiple times this guy was smurfing fights. There is the one time in mid lane where he kind of got caught because they were pinched, but I think it has to be him. Producer Ice Fire Eyed is saying Dro. I could see it. I just don't think his impact was as. Yeah, I just don't think you have the same splashiness as Guon.
The Baron steal is for me that because I mean you gotta think what I know hindsight's 2020, but NiP getting that Baron, what does it change? Honestly, it might change a lot of the game because they were in the advantage right there, and then they kind of just incrementally lost to WE. Wonder.
Yay!
It'll be Guon on the first game Kiana of this best of 3, feeling good to set the tempo in the series at least with how important this series is.
Hey, he is leading his team in Pogs right now. He was already at 4, now at 5. He is currently the 5th place in terms of most Pogs in the games, or in their games. So I think it's really cool. He is 1 below Tarzan, 1 below Krako, 2 below Kyle and Tarzan. And then we obviously have Knight, but Knight's sitting at 8. That's going to be a pretty tough one. Unless
That's a little tough.
Yeah, but hey, you can still do it. You can potentially do it. So
get you somebody who can do both. Get you somebody who can play just as much Vi as they can play Kiana. All right, and that's what you get with Guwon. Speaking of, though, before we get going off into game number 2, if you would like to support us on LPL English, please consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project directly, since a vast majority of the payments and contributions go directly to the show, paying for the broadcast updates, at least the package updates, paying for the many wonderful volunteers that put a ton of time into this broadcast on a daily basis. Please go think about subscribing. You see the link there in the chat as well. You get early access to content like our podcast that's been coming out, as well as interview content in the future as well. But that's going to be it for our game number 1 of this deciding best of 3. We'll see if NiP can finish the deal or if it's going to be a WE comeback in game number 2. Welcome back, one and all, to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Alk. We've got Ice behind us on Prod, and we have a game one serendipitously going to NiP. Now we got to see what WE have to come back.
It's got to be a lot, man. I need to see Cube on some tanks. I need to see a bot lane matchup that's winning. Yeah, I want to see just a better draft, because we were coming out of that one. We're saying, okay, you don't win the early laning phase. You're also not the most mechanically proficient team in Brute Perseverance, so where's the advantage coming from? And a lot of it was focused around Monkey, and a lot of it came down to the jungler on WE.
Yeah, it definitely did, and I think you can look at some of the good advances as well, and that was awesome to see, but
there we go.
Some of the bad ones you got to hang your hat on as well. You got to remember, coming into this one, how important this series is for the expected outcomes of facing either IG or top esports. Very differing ladders in that kind of priority there, but already in the first phase and finishing the first phase, we got some particular bans. Mudo, Jace, Orianna coming away from NiP. It's going to be Nico, Vi, Jarvan there for WE. Looking at that first pick for WE on that blue side, it's going to be the Varus.
And that means NiP chose red side willingly, so we've seen a couple of these from them throughout the season. We saw the Rise was hovered there by Karis.
They hate blue side, by the way. They've only played 2 games on blue side.
That is also very true. They're 1-1 currently on blue side, so another red side game here for NiP. The Varus, a good champion for a bout. It's been something that he actually did get a player of the game earlier in the season, but I'm waiting to see if Cube is going to throw down the gauntlet and play this champion. It has been a flex. Again, a good takeaway from NiP, but getting the Rise, I think, for Care, and again, similar to the Azir in the last game, I think a very smart takeaway from the mid laner of WE.
And I gotta ask, because I think we've been seeing a huge stonk rising for Rise. I feel like he is just everything you want right now, with the amount of scaling, the amount of health he can get, the amount of damage he can do, and now you're getting set up by a Jhin as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He has very few really terrible matchups, and he has strong 2 and 3 items, so not all that bad. We're going to maybe see a Rumble here for Cube. Not exactly what I wanted to see. I know I was just complaining about wanting to see a tank in the top lane, but he is a champion that you're almost always going to have to go up against. I still think you're fine giving over Rumble to get something like Cassante, but I will have to cry about it later. WE instead just going for strong team fighting ultimates. The Varus is going to give you range. The Rumble's going to give you range. Just don't allow for the enemy team to get next to you, which is technically matched by the Jhin, but we'll kind of see what this is going to end up being. Are we going to go for Monkey's champion, or are we going to look for support?
Gotta figure out what they want to leave going into that second phase of bans that NiP will be leveling to them. It's going to be the Talia locked in. Not something we've seen as much of lately, but I really still like it with the roaming capabilities out of mid lane, with the kind of joining of the bot lane we've seen a lot of times as well with that pick. It's going to be the Bard, a classic combo with Jhin, and a lot of peel ability for NiP.
All right, so what bot lane are we going to get from Yao? The only range supports that we've seen from him are Nami and Karma, but no Nico to play against this early. It is also banned by WE, so I'll be honest, Lennon, I think this Bard is absolutely a 1v9 machine in this game. I mean, no flash on any of these champions from WE, and the fight's kind of over. You immediately get collapsed upon, a deadly flourish to be able to land on top of that. The damage profile here from NiP is decent enough. You see the second phase of draft already. Again, a big focus on the junglers, getting rid of things like the Malphite. Jarvan was already taken away. Vi was taken away. So, I mean, you can go for another skirmisher. I think Pantheon is good enough here for Guwon, especially with the range that his team has. I just don't like what WE are showing, I'll be honest. And now you're asking for Monkey to play either a tank that he doesn't have access to or something else. Yeah.
A little note as well. I mean, this Bard pick makes Bard the most picked champion by Joel so far the regular season, which, you know, I think might raise some question marks to some people at how good a Bard can be, but at what level are we at with Joel? And we'll have to see if he can put it up here with this one. But in this second phase, in these final picks for this second game, you got to think of what the remaining pieces of the puzzle are. It's got to be that jungle matchup for NiP and that top lane as Ambessa comes through.
I think this is incredibly smart here from NiP. The Ambessa is a flex for Guwon and for Hoya. and if they take away from Monkey, so just pinching pools. I think NiP have done a fantastic job so far of both countering their opponents in terms of champion playstyles and pinching the pool from their away from them. So really, really intelligent gameplay so far already just from the draft alone. Now, to note, this team is remarkably squishy outside of the Rise. So what tank are we going to get from Hoya? I'm expecting the Cassante. I think it has very good matchup spread against most of the champions that are here from WE. And while there's some strong engage tools with a Rakan and a Wukong, I am worried about the range that is here on this team. Outside of the Varus and the Rumble, this team is incredibly gated on their ability to move forward. The Ornn is going to come through.
That's huge.
That is a really big scaler. I mean, giving him the increased items, you're expected to go down early in this matchup. If I see an Arcane Comet from Cube, I'm going to scream. I'm going to lose my mind. I don't want to see these laning runes versus champion. Just take your first strike, take your cash back, and get your first items quicker. Come on, brother.
The first thing I see here when I'm looking at these drafts, though, is that a lot of the kind of weight or the ball, if you will, is in WE's court here, because you have serious scaling with this Ornn and the Rise on the side of NiP. And yes, more proactivity with the Ambessa, of course, but if they just kind of let them have their way, then things can go a little bit awry for WE.
I want to see WE making proactive plays. I need to see this bottom lane get up in the face. I mean, you're playing Rakan, you are playing the Varus. You have ways of playing this 2v2 early, even though Bard can be a bit of a bully in some matchups. So I need to see them do something, because as long as they're on the front foot, if they're the ones initiating plays with this Wukong and Taliyah, I think they're going to have a field day in this game. You have so many ways of disrupting and stopping a champion like Rise from running over this game. But if you trip and stumble in that mid game like we saw from them in Game 1 and throughout the regular season, you're going to get run over. I mean, again, 3-item Rise is a huge terror in the meta right now. Actualizer, Rod of Ages, Seraph's his champion, presses his active item, and suddenly he's getting 35% bonus damage for free from his items. So,
well, we're into it now. Series continues. An important one. Winner goes on to face IG. Loser goes on to face TES in the Knights Road. Can WE pull us back? Game 2 now.
Lennon, it's there. It's there. I see an Arcane Comet
Don't
for
look.
Rumble.
Just hold your hand up. Just hold your hand up. You won't see it.
Why? Why? Like, we keep seeing this, and it's like, unless you can solo kill the Ornn, which is unrealistic in this matchup with D-Shield and just having Revitalize, how am I ever supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Just take your first strike and get your items. Like, just juice this guy for a free 300 gold in the first 10 minutes and call it a night. Like, we're using heal automatically for this 2v2. Great job from Juo to put damage down to Yaoya. I mean, the level 1 can be tricky, but junglers are also pathing to the opposite sides, man.
So, something here, obviously I'm a little bit of a Jhin aficionado. At the competitive level, don't have any of that experience. But from what we've seen, like, the Varus in the lane feels pretty tough for the Jhin to deal with. I think unless you get something leaning your way, it can start feeling well, and you can have some of that pressure that we're seeing a little bit of here. But the lane itself is going to be pretty hard for some of that poke coming through for Jhin and not being able to trade back. But so far, they're trying to keep as much pressure down here as they can.
Yeah, just having the double range matchup is making it significantly easier for Awesome and Juo to find success. Early vision placed by WE, spotted the Ambessa, so they know Guwon's going to be on this side of the map. In a minute and a half, I think this bottom lane should be looking to get their wave in a better spot. Currently, it is bouncing away from them, but depending on how they trade, depending on what the matchup looks like right now, they could try to equalize this and keep their under their turret. I think it's very difficult for NiP to go for dives with their setup here. So, also, quite cute. Not going to have a big impact in this game, but we do have Gumayushi's Varus skin versus Karia's Bard skin. So
mental damage.
I mean, mental damage, you say that. I mean, at least Karia is still in contention to go to an international this early on.
You just had to. Nice.
Look, I have to find something, okay, man? They keep beating us at international.
They keep beating us.
Yeah.
Make it stop.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes I go into the comments when I'm not on the show, and it is crazy what some of these people are typing about LPL.
Nice.
All right.
I love to see it. All right, let's get back to the game and now talk about those crazy comments. We are getting our first connection of the support jungle duos, at least here for NiP. It is going to be the mid jungle that W were looking to combine to, but Here comes a little bit of a gank down towards the bot side. The magical journey is going to be a magical one for NiP. Double grand entrance comes through, and the back got completed from Awesome, so he wasn't even there.
Okay, so the theory here, and we didn't touch on this early on because there was the cube incident going on. Varus does have teleport in this lane, and so Jhin got his recall in. This is supposed to equalize the bottom lane matchup. I know it looks a little bit strange with him being able to finalize that recall, but it lets Awesome stay in the lane and not get trapped by this teleport. And now with double healing from the shrines from Zhuo, it means that hopefully he can find a recall, or at the very least, you're just doing well by your bottom lane. So I think this is actually really intelligent from the jungle and support of NiP. Does also let him get back to his camps, as we see Guwon is already back onto the respawn of his Krugs, going to his Raptors, which does have yet another ward on it. So they will have timers on that, and they'll know where this Ambessa is.
I like it. And as you see there, the carry a Bard. The combo no longer together. The yin and the yang there in the bot lane right now. As we will get the resets coming in from both supports. Should get back out on the map. And start seeing some proactive plays from these junglers. I know we said it's mostly up to WE. And we will have that dragon coming up in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, right now, you're doing fine in mid lane. Care has not even hit a recall yet, so doesn't have his tier. Something we usually see, probably going to be looking for it within the next moment or two. Whether or not it's on this mid wave or not is up to him. But we do have bottom side Scuttle spawning soon. A big piece of content that has been almost taking over the airwaves here on the LPL English, is talking about the jungle tech to try to get your upgraded smite at 530. We'll be seeing our junglers on opposite sides yet again, though. And Wukong will have to make a straight beeline to this if he wants to get here in time. And Bessa's already going to be moving into the bottom side jungle. And looks for now like NiP will be maintaining priority in this lane. Again, just this Bard is so easy to move around with.
Yeah, it is. I do think things, you know, can lean the way of Yaya and about if they can get a nice combo off, but obviously just taking things slowly as of yet, and might just be the case for the foreseeable future.
Ooh, Care is
a little bit of connection there. Yeah, exactly.
Care can Realm Warp over for this play and make this a very good fight. Kars would have to use his ultimate. Here's the Realm Warp, but About is out. Yeah, they use the heal.
They're trying to pincer here, but they don't really have much of an angle, and the armored front for WE has shown up. Karis will have the Weaver's Wall if he wants to cut anybody off.
Oh,
ooh,
no.
Seismic Shove connects onto Guwon, and Guwon's in a lot of hurt now. Here comes Awesome to try to layer in some CC. It's going to be NiP that get out licking their wounds here.
Not enough crowd control early on, right? There's not an Alistar, there's not a Rel or a Leona. So without their ultimates, this bottom lane from NiP is a little softer to engage. And we saw the upfront damage there from WE. Awesome.
Nice sidestep from Awesome there. As, he's got to be a little careful now. The Hail of Arrows not enough to take him down.
Upgraded Smite and the Dragon going over to WE. This is the advantage we wanted to see from them. Great play being able to counter that initiation onto the bottom side Scuttle. And now WE should be leading themselves with a great gold lead as well. Teleport here from Zhuo is going to get him back, but it should be a turret play going over to About. We're opening up a pretty solid lead here, something we don't usually talk about this early on for Team WE.
What are you trying to say? No, you're right. I think we had seen some great moments. That's what we talked about coming into the series, you know, kind of layering in some of the historical facts of WE, where they are sitting at a battle for the top of this group, and there's a reason for that. Some of those combinations we started seeing from this team, specifically not even just about Monkey, right? I know we came into this talking about so much, and there still is the possibility for him to kind of earn those stripes, and if we can, go ahead and bring up that L3 about him, because I think it is important to highlight this guy. You can obviously get your all-pro votes in there with that QR code, but he needs to have a better game than he had in game number 1, as Care is going to be fine.
Yeah, About has been really exciting to watch. I thought that the trade for Taeyun to bring about in as the Gen G's Academy AD carry was really exciting. While his floor might have been a little bit lower, especially coming over, I think that the ceiling on this guy is incredible, and we've seen glimpses of it so far this season. Unfortunately, they've been overshadowed by a lot of WE's other issues that are going on, particularly in jungle. So I'm really excited. I think that if there's a future for this Team WE roster, it is around this really, really exciting prospect. So we'll see. He's on Varus, you know, the most picked champion currently and the highest priority and win rate AD carry on this patch and the last patch and the patch before that and the last 7 to 12 of them before those. So if there's ever a champion you're going to get a free win on, I do think it is going to be Varus.
And of course, as is tradition for the LPL, we got to go to 3 games. So
No,
it,
that's not
WE.
tradition.
Realm Warp coming in, and NiP want to make a play. They've got a double, but it's going to be the public execution used to buffer it, and Yao Yao goes down. The FPX emote comes out from Care with a throwback.
I love that. That was really beautiful. Now, Monkey did get all 3 grubs, and with him... Oh no, he's doing it again. Oh, Monkey's doing Profane Hydra Wukong again.
Nice.
Oh god. Okay,
It's
well...
the Monkey way.
Yeah, he'll have a lot of damage, but he will not have the survivability that a Sundered Sky or a Trinity Force. Yo-Yo's going to help teleport forward. They got some gold in the meantime to equalize what was going on in the bottom side, but yeah, we'll touch on this a little bit later as he finishes this item. So, WE, man, this is a very tricky game for them to play. I like that they have got the first dragon. They got the first 3 grubs. Let's continue to cash in on some of these overgrowth on the plates.
We'll say, kind of synchronized swimming back there from NiP. 4 members back. Hoya unfortunately wasn't able to, and now he will pay the price. Can't get the ulti off. Monkey going to take a couple extra shots, but he'll be fine. Here comes Guan, though. He doesn't have public execution. He's just going to clear the wave.
Feels good as a jungler, and just picked up a whole minion wave, at least in terms of experience. Feels good, man. And he's got his Raptors he can take. He'll be level 8. You can see that currently Joel is making a path towards the top side. They are in complete control of the vision on the bottom side jungle here.
Yeah, look at that ward spread. Holy.
Yeah. Karis has to pay a lot of respect because he doesn't know if there's going to be a bard suddenly popping up underneath his turret with him on the magical journey. Dragon spawns in a minute and a half, Lennon. What I'm going to be kind of excited to watch is whether or not WE will be able to contest. Awesome. Great fancy feat there.
You can continue, my liege. I'm sorry, that was just a nasty sidestep on a Jit. I had to make, you know.
I get it. I completely. And look at this timer. This is good play from NiP. This is what I appreciate here from NiP and specifically from Guan. I mean, he's going in. He has the timer on the enemy Raptors. He took his own Raptors at the same time. So he's just going to start to generate a little bit of a lead here. Even though it was Monkey who did get first blood, that is essentially all of the gold lead that he has over his opponent.
Still hovering over about 1,000 gold lead for WE. It's going to feel much better than the kind of up or down position they were in themselves last game. Hoya getting burnt to a crisp up here for the Forge God. Don't feel like that's normal. But hey, I guess lore aside, Cube is cooking right now in this top lane.
There's also top lane quest being done here for Hoya. Okay, that's going to hit the minion wave. This is actually really smart because the Ornn Pillar is going to change the pathing of the minions. Cube does still end up grabbing this. He's probably still going to grab this turret plate. Now I'm looking at bottom side. I don't care what's happening up here, guys. I promise it's just Ornn versus Rumble. We can look at the bottom lane right now. All the vision still in control, but WE were able to get some pretty decent wards down, both in the river and with one flank ward behind them. So can they execute on this dragon? And they still have this Profane Hydra being completed by Monkey.
That's what I was just about to say, is all of WE are redeploying out from base after backing into the map with items completed. Profane with the Yumus, and we also have that Archangels getting started here for Karis. There will be item completions on the side of NiP, but they are nowhere near this side of the map. And with that lack of pressure, WE step in to take it all.
Guan was looking for a recall afterwards, so seems like also Care did get a basin, gets his Rod of Ages, a very big spike for them. If they can, you know, just wait another 10 minutes here in an additional level. Getting it this late does mean that he'll probably hit level 15 with this item. We'll see how much gold and experience he's able to funnel into himself alongside his team. decent enough trade. WE find themselves with 2 dragons. It's a good start, exactly what we wanted to. Oh, no fancy feed here, brother.
That time, but Tempered Fate there from Dwo with some excellent Bard gameplay, and it's actually Yao Yao who has to run away, open him up, and see what you find. See Yao Yao dashing away. The 4th shot, not enough.
Wow, that ultimate from Dwo saves a lot of HP there for Awesome. Now, what does this mean? Because in the grand scheme of things, Awesome taking a little bit of his HP loss, not all that important, but maybe could have forced About to get away even, or force, especially with Monkey in the area. Not having that ultimate, though, we're going to have Herald spawning in a minute and a half. And I need to see WE get back out on the map a little bit quicker. You saw that Yao Yao took his recall first. It's now going to be him moving alongside Monkey to get some vision. It looks like they want to make a play onto the enemy blue buff, but I mean, it's already gone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough position to be in. NiP now caught a little bit. There's the Weaver's Wall coming across from Karis. Care should escape. Guan tries to use the public execution to find his own distance. He's going to try to turn it back around. Deadly Flourish is going to connect, and Guan is going ham. Guan is just spinning to win like a Beyblade ripping, as it's going to be an NiP finding big money on the bot side.
They need to play aggressive when you have this Profane Hydra Wukong, but, I mean, Karis, honestly, he goes in with the Weaver's Wall, and he puts no damage down. He misses the flick, and he loses that flash right before this fight. Incredible picture-in-picture there from our observers. So, they lose out huge. Lennon, the gold completely swung away.
It's literally what happened to game number 1.
And we just threw a very big lead for ourselves. We gave gold over to this Rise. We'll take a look at this again. I mean, Rod of Ages, all of this HP he just got from this basically saved him in this play. If he doesn't have Rod of Ages, he's dead here. Karis right here, man. No flick. The movement speed from the Rise gets him to safety. Awesome is already here. Look at where Varus is. Look where About is currently. We are not fighting with our AD carry. This is a very, very similar situation to game number 1, where Monkey calls for an aggressive invade and completely backfires.
That one is going to sting, especially with this build on the Wukong. And being a little bit more centered on damage, as Care is going to be found at least. Again, he's going to burn. The flash still comes out from Cube just to make sure, but Monkey will claim that kill.
Okay, so we'll get first turret on top side. We'll also get the Herald. It's a decent enough purchase. They needed to find a kill. If they were not able to grab it after almost killing him on the last play, this game's all but cooked. See that NiP are currently looking to contest, but does Hoya opt for a teleport into this play? Cube would have to match, and it'd be a pretty bad timer for him. Cars can also very easily answer his Weaver's Wall coming up in a few minutes, or a few seconds here.
That should be first turret going the way of WE as well, so chunking back that gold lead a little bit. And these objectives are going to start mattering. I mean, you have 3 grubs with the Rift Herald now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big play later on as Cube goes ahead and takes the fight against Hoya. Awesome comes down. Deadly Flourish connects. Equalizer is going to be used, but Awesome has arrived to come pick up the kill at the last second.
And he'll grab the turret. What a great donation. I got to say, Mazel, if this was last season, WE would be massively in the lead right now. They got all the 3 of the first objectives with 2 dragons, the 3 grubs, and they've also got the first blood and the first turret. That would be feats of strength immediately for them if this was 2025. So in a prior season, we would be saying this team is at an advantage state here in this game with how it's been looking. I'm thinking now WE are reliant on the dragons, and I mean, this is an Infernal Drake. That is as good as it's going to get for this team with how much damage that is packed in.
And looking at that gold, I love that they bring up the gold graph because Jin up almost 1,000 on the next highest in the game right now. 2 items already completed. He's going not necessarily with the most damage here, but the utility is what has been super key so far. That's what Awesome has been doing this entire game. That's what every good Jin does, is set up for the rest of the team and pick off kills where you can. Been doing a really good job in a series, in a matchup where we wanted to talk about so much. And it's going to be Awesome that takes that spotlight.
Everything is happening against About. You know, like
it really is.
The bottom side invade wasn't for him. A lot of the fights on the Yunara last game wasn't for him. It was around his jungler. I feel bad for the guy, man. Like, he got roped in. He's like, okay, I'm going on to a pretty decent LPL team, at least in terms of the middle of the pack. And then it's Monkeys just saying, nope, we're playing for my objective. I'm the jungler. I'm the GOAT here. No ultimate landed there from Duo. This is right before the Dragon. Herald also is going to give WE priority. This will be a soul point for them.
Chains of Corruption connect that time right onto Care, and Care has no way out of it. It's going to be the Rift Herald play that NiP have to focus on, and now WE, even though Yao Yao is a little bit low on the health bar, a little bit of a wonky ult there, but it's fine.
Whoa,
dodging out of the public execution as well, and NiP just can't hit their hits. That's going to be Dragon number 3 to WE.
All right, everybody from NiP are going to wish that we had the last probably 15 seconds back. And honestly,
agreed.
I'm going to reclaim our time for both us and the audience at home. We're going to reclaim our time. We're going to pretend like that didn't just happen. WE talked about it just right before this objective fell. Soul point for them. They are so reliant on these Dragons now because they are the team that we talked about does not have as much scaling or as many resources that are going to be able to access. I don't really see the point of having replay. We just saw this play, and there wasn't really much to it. It's a great ult from Bout. Perfect from us. Great casting from us, Lennon. Pat ourselves on the back. A fight happened where the Varus was there, and we won!
Hey, look at that. And that equalizer was actually pretty nice from Cube. Kind of blocking off in those choke points. But, hey, we're getting a little bit later on in the objectives now. Obviously, we have Baron coming up. I don't think either team is really going to be threatening that objective for the foreseeable future itself. But that next Dragon is what we're looking at. So I want to take a little bit of a step back and take a look at these comps, because something we talked about from the draft is some of the scaling opposition that NiP have against WE, and some of the things that come along once they get to those 3-4 items. And WE have done a good job of kind of keeping themselves in tempo, but this next fight is going to be extremely important. And I think, is either team looking for a pick ahead of time?
I mean, if you could find it, that's great. Hoya's going to be a little bit annoying versus this Wukong. He needs to be careful, though, because he's going to get dropped right in front of Cube. Cube, they can look for something. I mean, Kara's Realm Warp.
Yeah, Realm Warp going to come in. Equalizer's used right on the Realm Warp, but everything thrown right at Cube, and he's down.
That's going to be a really big pick. Again, think about the scaling on this team. Ryze is currently 7 stacks on his Rod of Ages. 3 more minutes, and that is going to be completed. Seraph's Embrace is now done for him as well. 2 items for this Mbessa. Massive for them. NiP have maintained a very small goal lead for most of this game. But I think the Dragon Soul is going to be a really big talking point for us. Finally, they'll grab this mid-tier 1. Kind of answering your question here, it's fine for WE. I am still worried about their damage profile, because even with an Infernal Drake, I'm looking at items and they just don't have the a massive amount of DPS or consistent damage. They have huge pick potential in these games, but they need for it to land. And both teams don't have the most sturdy or the most reliable amount of engage. The things that I'm looking at is obviously anything that is like from Yao Yao with this Grand Entrance and the quickness, or Care, who has a point-and-click route. But aside from that, we really need to get into these 5v5s. That is where I think WE is going to find a lot of success.
And I do think we're going to be a little short on those third items for everybody really coming into these next fights. And so something to kind of think about moving forward there. But it's just going to be calm and steady as she wrote. And you got to remember again now, like, this is, while a funny last little bit of LPL regular season, an important series for who these teams are going to be facing in that Knights Rivals tournament.
It's so important. I mean, just winning this game is obviously great for WE because they keep their hopes alive of being able to get first seed. But I think having to play versus IG is such a boon. They are the weakest Group Ascent team by far, not just in record, but just from eye test. And that is a single best of 5 away from getting into Group Ascent. We can talk about playoffs and whether or not they'll actually have a decent shot there. The most important thing for these teams is looking at Split 2, getting access to better scrims, getting access to better teams, even as potentially one of the lower-end teams going in.
It's all about the climb up the ladder. And speaking of, we've climbed our way straight to a pick potential. WE getting caught out. Perfect execution going to be used. Guwon can't get the kill there in the end, but the 4th shot's not going to be able to ring true.
Oh.
TP came in. Cube is way overextended.
What
Cube
is he
gonna
doing?
Go down for a 2nd time in a row, and all of a sudden NiP take full control, gripping it straight out of WE's hands, going for the long distance play with the Realm Warp. It's going to be the quickness straight to his death. All of WE are gone, and it's just WE and Karis alive.
Hey, I think the observers were maybe Team WE favored there. They got a little bit dizzy on that dive in between the turrets. They didn't even finish this tier 1. NiP, they've looked like the more consistent team throughout the split and just execute so beautifully on this fight. Monkeying about, a little too far up in my opinion. Great use. We talked about this Bard. If you do not have Flash, you're going to get picked. And in this instance, there's a great engage coming in. Thanks to Dro setting this up. Guwon lands the public execution and a deadly flourish from Awesome. And then Cube, man, you don't have the HP bar, even with the upgraded teleport. So they get so much gold, a turret plate, 3 kills, flashes galore. We talked about this dragon being important. NiP are already on this objective, and now we have to face check into this team.
The dragon is gone. The soul stacking has been halted as NiP are able to put a little bit of stopgap measure into that. WE still looking to claim some prizes here on the back end of this play as the pressure comes through. There's going to be some plates in the mid lane for them using these 3 grubs really well. Temper Fate, perfect time, but I think he's going to die anyways. They fully commit right in the mid lane and give NiP a little bit of their taste of their own medicine.
I don't care right now. Rise is splitting at the same time. This is going to be a very funny Weaver's Wall. A shot goes out from Awesome, but these are pity prizes right now. We are getting some gold, and it's onto a kill onto Dwobe. Who cares? My Rise is splitting. He is getting gold for himself. He's level 16 already now. So he is completely scaled up. And then he gets the Equalizer. It's kind of like the Ezreal build we were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. You know, we're getting every single item feels like Christmas.
And I gotta say, just a little bit of state of the play here is ornaments are coming online now.
Oh,
we have already started getting to that point, and that is when the clock starts ticking for WE, as we said in the draft.
Oh no, I'm very scared now.
Yeah. He unfortunately though, I don't know if this is normal. I feel like IE would be better, but he got his Yumu's upgraded for Awesome.
Oh. Yeah, that is maybe, you know, just us being a little bit lazy. Remember, guys, every Ornn item upgrade will give you about 1,000 gold, but there are some items that are better because they only upgrade in a single stat. Infinity Edge is one of them. You will get a ton of flat attack damage, and that's really it. So it is very, very good. The better items that you can try to get are the ones that are going to concentrate onto one single stat line. Just a little bit of Ornn tech for you guys at home. But I'm coming back to this game. The NiP grabbing that dragon is such a big win. I mean, finding that pick onto about in mid lane, grabbing all of those kills. It's the only shining light I see for WE is that they didn't give up this mid-tier 1. But even that is relative. Speaking of, goodbye.
Yep, it is gone.
Okay.
As the pieces are starting to come online for NiP, and what a turnaround it would be. I mean, you got to remember, for both these two teams, they've faced 2 times, obviously double round robin, both times going the distance, both times going to 3 games, and both of them coming away with 1-1 series scoreline against each other. And so to change that narrative, if NiP are able to kind of drive this home, would be a little bit of a shocker towards the end of the season, or at least the end of the regular season.
Would also mean that WE in their last 2 have gone 0-4,
yep,
which is a little yikes going into our Knights Rivals play-in tournament. So need to see a win from them. That EDG series at the end of the season gave us very little hope, but we were thinking maybe they could turn it around with a little bit of time in between them and the tiebreaker that they would have had to play. I mean, NiP, I mean, they're looking decent, all right? Like, they're 4-0 because somehow in the schedule they played WE twice before they played one series versus Thunder Talk. Thank you, LPL admins, for that one. But they have the exact opposite. They're 4-0 right now, and if they 2-0 WE, they go 6-0 at the end of the season. That's pretty good.
It's pretty crazy. Little thing here, Actualizer got completed.
Oh, okay,
by
GG.
Care. And now he can go GG. Super Saiyan for just about 8 seconds.
So what are we looking at? So Monkey blast coned over.
Quickness got popped by Yao Yao. Oh. They're just going to take a 4-man there with the clone, and now Guwon just unleashes hell onto WE. They've got nothing left to give. It is out. The clock has hit midnight. It is doomsday for WE.
Well, I said that the Actualizer being completed and a level 17 rise was probably going to be an FF point for WE. And while it wasn't only him, the rest of NiP really rallied behind the massive spike in power that we see from them. They're going to take a Baron here at 27 minutes. And there's going to be a dragon in 45. So this game is starting to come to a close. WE's window to try to win this game is being slammed in front of them. And what a great fight. I mean, this is precipitated right before this play. Monkey lost his flash. And Yao Yao's trying to find and engage. This quickness is completely useless in this fight. Massive ultimate from Hoya. Tagged that alongside Awesome with the Deadly Flourish and the Curtain Call. And in namesake alone, this game is closed out now. NiP have looked like the more consistent team throughout the season and are going to be rewarded for their performance with a first place in Group Perseverance.
Monkey's time to death was definitely the exact same as the amount of time he was stunned for. That man did not get to touch his keyboard that entire fight, and that's a little bit of a microcosm of what has been going a little bit wrong for WE so far. That next dragon falls again to NiP 2 in a row. Whoa. Does save himself for the time being, maybe trying to bait in WE. Another backline entrance by Guwon. Here comes the Ornhorn as well on top of it. Guwon is down, but Hoya is still kicking. You've got damage from Awesome and Care as well. That is still going to be a couple picks, though, going back to WE. Cube has just decided I'm going to get gold somewhere else, guys.
I think this has an official term in the community. It's called rage splitting. So that brother knows. Okay, well, he's Ornn. He's going to be in these team fights. I'm going to try and generate some gold for myself and see if I can be useful. 3 items on Rumble is good, but your base being blown up isn't as important, I would say. NiP are just ravaging WE in these fights, picking them apart on side lanes. Yet again, this Ryze is near unkillable by himself. Demolish procs and these Baroned up minions.
Gold.
Yeah. It just doesn't matter, right? Like he's up all this gold, and that if it wasn't for him, it would be a 5,000 gold lead here for NiP.
At least it's a little something to write home about, I guess. As yeah, 4th item very close. We now have that Seeker's arm guard for Care. It's going to make him even more proficient in these next fights as well. And it's just something for NiP that feels really good, but for WE it feels so bad. Like, it feels like you were trying to emulate that style that made WE so lethal in the past, and especially now last year. But it hasn't been working, especially for the last 2, to kind of sputter in the end. What kind of confidence does that give you moving forward into the Knights rivals? And I don't think it's a lot.
It's tough because this was a style that was so good for them in Split 2. And in Split 3, they just completely collapsed, especially in playoffs. WE unable to really lead from the front with their jungler. And now are facing down a pretty sizable lead here. Dro's going to take down the turret.
Guwon, a little bit bold here.
Oh!
He's going to go forward, and they already get Karis. They get a double kill coming through for Care, making a triple. They want to get a little bit more, but it's the turret that they're going to have to settle for, as Monkey will not have anything to say in that fight.
Where is your gold lead, Cube? Where did it go? 2,000 gold lead, and for what? We're going to lose all of our inhibitor turrets. We're going to probably lose this top one. And look at what Hoya's done. He's 1,500 gold down. He says, I don't care. I have Bandle Pipes. I'm here to empower the rest of my team.
They're in the game.
Yeah, I'm here to get first place.
In 1v4 as another FPX emote comes up. WE have lost their fight. They've lost their hope, and NiP rises in their place as they will claim first in Group Perseverance. Say that again, and make sure you check the facts as NiP take a 2-0 over WE.
And I just want to say, they not only get their first place here in Group Perseverance, they do it in very, very dominant fashion. These guys completely clap WE. WE does not look like the same team that we were kind of excited for, and that's worrisome because now we're going to be going into a postseason where I'm looking at the play-ins. They're going to be playing against top esports. That's not good.
It's not going to feel good. not gonna feel good. Because, again, now we can open up that conversation of, like, why that matters and what was happening. Top esports started firing away some of the biggest wins of the split towards the end of their season, and IG had sputtered so much it just felt like there was no life in that team. So when you're looking at that Knights rivals, and yes, it's a different change of atmosphere, it's a different change of the series style as well, but you can take a little bit of that hint of what's going on with both those teams. And I think there was definitely a favored outcome here if you want to try to make that run through those Knights rivals.
Now, if I am going to be charitable to WE, at the end of the day, and we say this for literally every other team, if you want to be the best, you're going to have to beat every team. It doesn't matter if you're going to do this. So for WE, it's going to be tough, but if there is ever a way we're going to see this team improve, it is going to have to be playing against better teams. And so while Top Esports, we have seen be the better team out of the two Ascend teams are going to be playing in the play-ins, I think that if there's ever a time we're going to see them actually improve, it's going to be in that best of 5. This has to be the moment they show. And the best part about this is, regardless of their performance here tonight, regardless of what they did in the regular season, it can all be written away by just making Group Ascend. And they'll have 2 chances to do that in the bracket.
And again, that comes with better scrims, better opponents, more time. Like it comes with so many caveats and so many benefits as well there. That you really have to think about that moving forward, because we saw what happened to some teams last year where the format was a little bit different that weren't getting a lot of games. It didn't go so well, if you want to say that. So really nice to see. Obviously still a lot to go. Couple days rest, couple days turnaround for these teams to try to get that going together. But the biggest benefit for them is that they will be starting in that kind of double round, or at least double elimination section for them. So they will have those 2 lives. Something to think about moving forward. But also important to say that NiP might be good. Like Guan was looking good. Juo was looking good.
I'll take it. I will take it. Look, by any means necessary.
Any means necessary.
We're gonna get this team. We're gonna get this team in. Now, obviously, this was a very dominant. I mean, this looks very similar to Game 1. Like, if you only looked at the gold graphs, it isn't as big of a lead here for NiP once they started to get in the lead, but generally speaking, they stayed in the lead once they got there. And we talked about at the very beginning of the show, WE's early games are terrible. They always are down at least some amount of gold. On average, they're down 600. That actually got reversed as we got towards the end of the season, because they were down 1,500 gold in every single game almost at the beginning. So they made some progress. But again, like, this play about is nowhere nearby. And yes, Karis does make a few mistakes, but I think Monkey, whether it is a communication issue or it is just a lack of synergy, they are not playing on the same page. And that is creating problems for this team where they cannot keep a gold lead, and they have to rely on essentially outplaying their opponents at objective fights, which is really, really dangerous to do when you are down gold consistently.
Yeah, and it also comes back to some of those forward advances for Monkey. I think when some of the best moments for WE last year were off of the back of Monkey, and not to see that, or at least to see that disconnection, is really disconcerting here for him, because I do feel like he has the potential to be a very strong jungler in the LPL.
He proved it last year. I mean, we were talking about this guy's potential MVP candidate, right? Like, just for his team alone, he looked incredible. He was the primary mover and shaker for this, and he wasn't even the starting jungler at the beginning of the year. Just crazy, right? He comes in, he saves this team from essentially just going from mediocre and being a nobody team for the most of the year. And we were really hyping up this team as potentially having one of the best second years as a project. Coming in, you had a new bottom lane. We didn't know how Yao Yao was going to look, and after a rough Demacia Cup, he really started to turn it around. Now it feels like it's not him anymore. It's not just Yao Yao. It is actually Monkey who is creating some issues for this team.
Yeah, it definitely seems so, and just hopefully they can get some of that disconnection together. But love to see another performance from Juo's Bard. Love to see all the pieces come together. And this comp was pretty spicy. Like, it's one of those ones where, yes, if you get behind, things go a little bit tougher. You don't have enough damage and things along those lines. But I think they used their tools very well in this one.
Oh, yeah. Just the execution of it was really clean, and that's what I liked. I think that NiP, they knew what their objective was. Obviously, it's going to be a blow-up in Nexus, but let's scale. WE have shown that they're not able to play competent enough early games, so let's pick some champions that are going to give us some leverage later on, champions that are also going to be independent. Hoya, doesn't matter if you get killed in the top lane. You're playing Ornn, for crying out loud. And again, stop playing Arcane Comet, brothers. Stop it. No more Arcane Comet Rumble. If you're against Cassante, take the first strike. If you're playing against Ornn, take the first strike. Stop it.
First strike is the lesson. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff from NiP. I don't know how their run of show is going to be working, but usually we don't get the player of the game. So, but it is an online match, so they won't technically maybe have interviews. They might still have interviews. But I guess we can take a little bit of time, buy a little bit of time at least, with your final thoughts on the regular season for LPL. What you're looking forward to going into Night's Rivals.
I'm just excited to have best of fives, man.
Me too.
Now that we are in Fearless as the predominant format for the year, best of fives are where it's at. We've seen so many exciting best of fives just last year alone domestically, and so I think this is really where we get to see whether or not the cream of the crop rises and what kind of chaff ends up falling off. This is going to be our play-ins tournament. This will start on the 9th. And again, these are going to be double best of 5 days for 3 days in a row. And then we'll have a little bit of break before we get into play-ins, or the playoffs. I mean, I'm looking at these matchups. TS versus WE is going to be a very tough bout, but again, they'll have the lower bracket for either of these. Immediately qualifying yourself in as potentially a 5th seed, I think, is exciting enough. But that IG NiP matchup, man, that's going to be really, really fun.
I think so. I just want to see, please, Rookie, do good.
If Rookie, player of the game, Jwo?
He had some pretty nasty moves. I'm not going to lie. He had some really good advances. He had some really good connections there with Guwon as well. And those Tempered Fates, pretty nice.
They were good. Now, player of the series, I still think goes over to Guwon. I think Guwon had a fantastic night today. He completely cleared Monkey, and coming in, he had a fairly negative skew from us here on the broadcast. So, I'm really excited whether or not NiP actually have legs to stand on. Oh my god, I can't believe in the year of our Lord 2026, I'm talking about Care versus Rookie is potentially an even matchup, or maybe favored NiP. That is crazy to think.
It's fine. It's fine. That's just how things are. The world changes. The LPL changes. We just have to get used to it. That's what happens. What's your bet on if we actually get the player of the match?
It's Guwon.
Yay! Dude, he got it.
Wow. Okay, so you guys didn't see this, but in the last game when we were talking about his Thresh, it was 7 out of 8 votes going to Guwon, and the 1 vote that was left over was for Jwo. Now, he did have a very big impact on this game number 1. Game number 2, I think the Bard was okay, but hey, he got himself a player of the match. So I'm not too biased against that. I think he has had a really good time here, and this team is significantly more cohesive than what we saw in JDG. So if he has a glow up very similar to Vampire, I think this is a big come up for him.
All right. Well, that being said, that's it for our regular season, at least. That means we're getting into playoffs now. That means we're getting into Night's Rivals. We're getting into the thick of things in this first split. In a first split where across the world, championship points were lowered, or the kind of need to win in first split were lowered. Here, we got raised a little bit. We got a little bit more ante to it, and I'm really interested to see how much that kind of extra pressure provides for these teams. A lot of teams who are still having breaks from big members on the teams and really wanting to kind of prove out and find spots for themselves going into that second split, a little bit of a longer split. But before we get going, we got to give a big shout out to our Elite Coffee supporters before everything is said and done and before the end of our regular season. So thank you so very much to Aaron, Soup, and Mung. Obviously, a lot of help to the broadcast itself goes to paying for so many things behind the scenes and all the people on your screen and behind the screen. It takes a lot of volunteers to make this run. It's been an incredible 4 weeks of the regular season. It has been fast. It has been wild. It's so insane to see so many of these stories kind of combining, and a lot of the same hierarchy of the LPL still being at that point. Any final thoughts, any final words before we get going out?
Guys, February 9th. Please tune in. We're going to get playoffs. We're going to get best of fives. Please tap in on the LPL English community Discord. We're going to have all pro votes. Those are going to lock up tomorrow, 5 p.m. the 8th, February 8th, 5 p.m. PST. So make sure if you want to get in on that, you got to go to vote. You got to get to the polls. So make sure you're going in and submitting your votes for all of the All-Pros, and you can vote for MVP of the split. So yeah, just make sure you guys are tuning in. It is awesome to see you guys day in, day out, whether it is for a single series or for all 4 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, thanks for coming for the bonus day of LPL. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in just a couple days for 2 more best of 5s and the Knights Rivals part of the play-in playoffs. We'll see you there.